I'm a security guard at Tokyo's Sensoji Temple. A woman splashed purification fountain water on her legs like a public pool. When I explained it's for ritual hand washing before prayer, she said, "In America, public fountains are for everyone to use however they want." She filmed the whole thing and insisted the temple should post clearer English signs explaining which fountains are decorative versus functional because international tourists shouldn't have to guess cultural rules. My cousin manages a ski rental shop in Zermatt. A customer requested skis, adjusted for Fahrenheit conditions, because he claimed European cold feels scientifically different than American cold. When my cousin explained snow works the same everywhere, the man insisted American temperature measurements affect equipment performance differently. He demanded written proof that Swiss mountains operate under identical physical laws to Colorado Peak. He took the skis but returned claiming they'd been calibrated wrong. I work at a cafe in Reykjavik. A woman ordered coffee, took one sip, and asked if we had American coffee instead of this European version. When I said it's just coffee, she explained American beans are freedom roasted and taste less bitter because of superior technique. This tastes old-fashioned. She asked me to water it down and add extra sugar to make it American style. I declined. She left a review claiming we discriminate against American taste preferences. I'm a train conductor in Prague. A passenger complained our trains were too European and asked when we'd install American-style cup holders and reclining seat. When I explained this is European rail infrastructure, he said, "America invented modern transportation, so you should update to our standards." He spent the entire journey standing in the aisle comparing our dining car to Amtrak and explaining to other passengers about American engineering superiority in the railway industry. My brother works at a pharmacy in Bangkok. A customer asked for ibuprofen, then insisted we accept US dollars because it's the world's reserve currency, which basically makes it international legal tender. When my brother explained we only take Thai baht, the man waved a $20 bill and said, "Dollars are more valuable. Everywhere accepts dollars. That's basic economics." My brother directed him to currency exchange. The man left muttering about Thailand not being globally connected. I'm a museum docent in Amsterdam. During a Rembrandt tour, a visitor interrupted to ask why the Netherlands doesn't celebrate the 4th of July. When I explained we're Dutch, she said, "But it's the birthday of freedom. Everyone should celebrate American independence because it inspired liberation movements worldwide." She insisted our museum should host special July exhibitions acknowledging America's contribution to global liberty. She seemed genuinely hurt when I continued the tour. My uncle runs a barbershop in Istanbul. A customer sat down and immediately launched into his political opinions about Middle Eastern policy. When my uncle stayed quiet, the man said, "In America, barbershops are where men discuss politics. It's an important tradition." My uncle replied that Turkish barbers prefer focusing on their craft. The customer seemed personally offended that we don't honor barbershop debate culture. He tipped in loose change and left a comment card suggesting we encourage more dialogue. I work reception at a hotel in Oslo. A guest called asking what channel shows American football. When I explained Norwegian TV doesn't broadcast NFL games live, he seemed shocked. He said, "But football is the world's most popular sport. How do Norwegians spend Sunday?" I mentioned soccer is huge here. He immediately corrected me. "That's not real football. Real football has touchdowns." He filed a complaint about inadequate sports programming and suggested we purchase an American satellite package for international guests. I'm a postal clerk in Dublin. A woman mailed a package, then asked why our stamps don't feature American flags. I said we're Ireland. She responded, "But America liberated Europe, so shouldn't your stamps acknowledge that?" She suggested we create commemorative stamps honoring American soldiers. When I processed her package silently, she muttered about European ingratitude. She asked to speak with a manager about updating our stamp designs to be more historically inclusive. My sister manages a gym in Copenhagen. A member demanded we play the American national anthem before opening each morning. She said American gyms do this to inspire workout motivation. When my sister declined, the woman explained that the Star-Spangled Banner has scientifically proven benefits for cardiovascular performance and muscle activation because of its patriotic frequencies. She offered to email research studies proving the anthem's effectiveness. My sister politely refused, and the woman canceled her membership immediately. I'm a librarian in Singapore. A visitor asked why our history section doesn't feature more American presidents. I explained we focus on Southeast Asian history. He said, but American presidents shaped world history. You're basically teaching incomplete information. He recommended we restructure our entire collection to reflect America's global influence, suggesting at least 30% American content for proper educational balance. He offered to donate books about Washington and Lincoln to help us get started. My cousin works at a bank in Buenos Aires. A customer wanted to open an account using only his Texas driver's license as identification. When asked for a passport, he said, "My license proves I'm American, which should be enough anywhere in the world." He explained that American state IDs are recognized globally because of America's credibility and trustworthiness. He left frustrated, muttering about unnecessary bureaucratic inefficiency. He threatened to report us to the American Embassy for discrimination. I'm a park ranger in Kruger National Park. During a safari, a tourist asked why we don't have safety railings along the wildlife viewing areas. I explained this is natural habitat. She said, "In America, we prioritize visitor safety with proper barriers. This seems irresponsible." She wanted to speak with management about installing American standard fencing to protect tourists from preventable animal encounters. She threatened to contact her travel insurance company about unsafe conditions if we didn't add protective barriers. My brother-in-law works at a government office in Stockholm. An American needed a residence permit and was shocked by the 2-week processing time. He said, "In America, we value efficiency. Can't you expedite this?" When told everyone waits equally, he offered $20 to skip the queue, explaining that American tipping culture solves bureaucratic delays everywhere. He seemed confused when my brother-in-law refused the money and said bribery is illegal here. I'm a ticket agent at the Colosseum in Rome. A visitor complained about the entrance fee, saying, "American national parks are much cheaper. Why is Italy so expensive?" I explained maintenance costs for 2,000-year-old monument. He said the U.S. National Park Service proves historical sites should be affordable for everyone. He suggested we study American pricing models and implement freedom-based ticketing structures. He asked if we offered military discounts for American veterans like proper tourist site. I work at a restaurant in Lyon. A customer sent back his steak 3 times because it wasn't cooked right. Each time, he described perfect medium rare using Fahrenheit temperatures. When I explained we use visual cues and touch, he said, "American steakhouses use precise temperature science. That's why our beef is superior." He demanded we purchase a meat thermometer calibrated to American standard. He suggested our chef take online courses from Texas steakhouses to learn proper technique. My aunt manages a bakery in Vienna. A tourist asked for a birthday cake decorated with American flag frosting. When she explained we don't do custom flag designs, the woman said, "But it's a universal symbol of freedom. Everyone should be honored to display it." She insisted American flag cakes are standard worldwide because America represents hope and liberty. She left disappointed that we refused to celebrate freedom. She asked if our reluctance was political or just anti-American bias. I'm a waiter in Melbourne. A table of 4 Americans sat for 3 hours, ordered only water and 1 appetizer, then asked why I wasn't checking on them every 5 minutes. When I explained Australian service is less intrusive, one said, "American hospitality means attentive servers. You're basically ignoring us." They tipped $2 total and wrote a detailed review about our cold, un-American service attitude. They compared us unfavorably to Applebee's and suggested we train our staff properly. My cousin works at a pizzeria in Naples. A customer ordered margherita pizza, then asked where the ranch dressing was kept. When I said we don't serve ranch, he seemed genuinely shocked and confused. He said, "But ranch is the official pizza condiment. How do people eat this without it?" He explained that Americans perfected pizza by adding ranch, and Italian restaurants should adapt because customer satisfaction matters more than tradition. He offered to mail us ranch packets from America. I'm a bartender in Berlin. Someone ordered a whiskey cocktail, sipped it, and said it tasted too European and sophisticated. When I asked what that meant, he explained American bartenders make drinks stronger and sweeter for better flavor. This tastes refined, but I wanted something fun. He asked if I could remake it with more sugar and less alcohol because American-style drinks are engineered for maximum enjoyment. He suggested I watch YouTube videos about American mixology technique. My sister works at a street food stall in Mumbai. A tourist bought samosas, ate one, then demanded a refund because they weren't authentic. She'd had samosas at an Indian restaurant in Ohio that tasted completely different. Those were real. These taste weird and homemade. She insisted American Indian restaurants set the gold standard because they adapt recipes for international palate. She said we should learn from them about proper samosa preparation and consistent quality control. I'm a cafe manager in Lisbon. A customer asked for a normal-sized coffee instead of our traditional espresso cup. When I offered an Americano in a larger cup, he said, "No, a regular coffee like in America. Why are European portions so tiny?" He theorized that smaller cups are a European austerity measure left over from economic problems. He wanted to know when Portugal plans to adopt American-sized beverages for modern convenience and customer satisfaction. My brother runs a grocery store in Seoul. A shopper asked where the peanut butter was located. When I showed her the expensive imported section, she said, "Why is it so costly here? In America, peanut butter is cheap and everywhere." She explained that since America invented peanut butter, technically Korea should manufacture it affordably as a licensed product. She suggested we contact American manufacturers about bulk discount programs to make it accessible for everyone who wants authentic peanut butter. I work at a tea house in Marrakesh. A visitor ordered traditional mint tea, tasted it carefully, and asked if we had regular tea like Lipton bags. When I explained we serve authentic Moroccan tea, she responded, "But Lipton is universal. It's what tea is supposed to taste like everywhere." She theorized that American tea companies perfected the brewing process through decades of corporate research and development. She asked if we could special order Lipton to keep in stock for American tourists. My uncle manages a taco truck in Mexico City. A customer ordered tacos, took one bite, and said they weren't authentic because they didn't taste like Taco Bell. He explained that Tex-Mex restaurants in America represent real Mexican food better because they're optimized for flavor. These taste too fresh and simple. He asked if we could add more cheese and use seasoned ground beef instead of carne asada. He seemed disappointed when my uncle said no and suggested we visit America to learn authentic recipes. I'm a taxi driver in Athens. A passenger asked me to take her to the Parthenon in Rome because that's where she thought it was located. When I explained the Parthenon is here in Athens, she said, "But I saw it in Rome in movies." "Are you sure?" She pulled up Google and seemed surprised. "Well, they should make that clearer in travel guides." She asked if we could drive to Rome instead since we were already halfway there anyway. My sister works at an airport in Copenhagen. An American asked what gate goes to Europe. When she explained he was already in Europe, he said, "No, I mean real Europe like Paris." She clarified that Denmark is fully European. He insisted Europe means old buildings and romance, not Scandinavia. He demanded to see a supervisor who understood geography better. He wanted to file a complaint about misleading airport signage that didn't distinguish between regular countries and actual Europe. I'm a bus driver in Montreal. A tourist asked why all the signs were in French. I explained we're in Quebec, a French-speaking province. She said, but we're in North America. Everyone should speak English here. She insisted French is only for France and that Canada should use English exclusively for continental consistency. She asked when Quebec plans to switch languages to match the rest of North America and be more accommodating to tourists. My brother-in-law works at a car rental in Reykjavik. A customer was shocked we drive on the right side of the road. He'd assumed all of Europe drives on the left like England. When I explained most of Europe drives on the right, he said, "That's confusing. Europe should standardize." He wanted a detailed map showing which countries drive where because it's too complicated for tourists to remember. He suggested the EU mandate one universal driving side. I'm a ferry worker in Istanbul. A passenger asked how long until we reach Asia. I explained we're crossing from Europe to Asia right now. She seemed confused. But Turkey is the Middle East, not Asia. I clarified that geographically we're on the Asian continent. She insisted Middle East is separate from Asia because that's how her school taught it. She said American geography is more accurate because we use clearer regional categories that make sense. My cousin works at a train station in Brussels. An American asked for a ticket to Amsterdam and was shocked it's only 2 hours away. She'd assumed it was a full day's journey. She said, in America, cities are properly spaced out. Why is Europe so cramped? She theorized that European countries are too small and should merge into larger states like America for efficiency. She suggested the EU restructure borders to create more logical, spacious regions that make travel times reasonable. I'm a tour guide in Cairo. A visitor asked why everyone doesn't speak English when Egypt is such a popular tourist destination. I explained Arabic is our native language. He said, but English is the international language. It's inconsiderate not to accommodate English speakers. He insisted countries with major tourist sites have an obligation to make English their primary language. He suggested government-funded English classes for all service workers to improve the tourism experience for Americans. My uncle works at a metro station in Barcelona. A tourist asked for directions, and when I responded in Spanish, she said, "Can you speak normal?" I asked if she meant English. She said, "Yes, regular language." When I explained Spanish is Spain's language, she seemed annoyed. But everyone learns English in school globally. Why aren't you speaking it? She wanted to complain that metro workers don't speak proper international language for tourists' convenience. I'm a hotel concierge in Hanoi. A guest asked how far Vietnam is from China. I said they share a border. She seemed shocked. Really? I thought Vietnam was in South America because of the jungles. When I showed her a map, she said, American schools should teach Asian geography better. This is confusing. She blamed her education system but also suggested Asian countries should market their locations more clearly with better continental advertising and tourism materials. My brother works at a language school in Prague. An American student was frustrated that Czechs don't understand him when he speaks slowly and loudly in English. He said, "If I enunciate clearly, any language should be understandable. It's basic communication." He insisted volume and clarity transcend language barriers because English is intuitive. He wanted us to teach Czechs to understand spoken English without translation as a practical life skill for the modern global economy. I'm a bartender in Sydney. Last night, an American walked in, looked around at everyone drinking and chatting, and asked, "Why doesn't Australia feel more American? You speak English." I said we're our own country with our own culture. He genuinely seemed disappointed, like he'd expected a theme park version of home. But we're so similar. You should feel more like Texas or California. He spent an hour explaining how Australia could improve by adopting American customs, then left without tipping. Some people travel the world expecting it to adjust to them instead of the other way around.